Well, good morning, class. This is Mrs. Hobart coming to you. Excited to teach on equivalent fractions today, and this is going to be exciting. Some of you may be watching this during spring break. Some of you may be the week after spring break. I'm going to go through a couple things on the lesson plans, and I'm going to also do a review problem because we will be having that conversions quiz coming up here pretty soon, just as a reminder. And then also we're going to pray. So before we begin, let's go ahead and pray. God, thank you so much for today. Thank you for our families. Thank you that you care about us and that you really do love your people. And even right now, God, when things seem a little confusing because we don't know what the next week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks are going to look like, we find comfort in the fact that you know and that you already have a plan and that we can rest in that. So I pray, God, during these days at home as we continue to learn and grow, that we would be loving other people, knowing that you have loved us first. And so, God, I pray that you would increase our love for you and for our family members. And please be with those people that are really hurting right now. May you be a comfort to people who maybe don't know you. Help us to understand the lessons we have in front of us so that we can worship you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So on your lesson plans, I'm just going to talk through just a couple of things, okay? So today I want you to work on your subtraction times sheet. Again, the purpose is so that you can get fluent with your math facts and feel confident so you can run and do your math with ease without tripping. So please have mom or dad send me the scores by Saturday evening. Also, keep reviewing those conversions because there will be a quiz coming up. And then for science, it's just going to be a little different. So we're working on our rocks poem, and we're going to just go back and watch that video you watched last week. Or if you have an encyclopedia at home, anything you want to do to kind of look at those 3 types of rocks, okay? First language lessons for the next couple days. You're just going to be doing lesson 70 and dictionary skills 2, and none of those have to be handed in. Your N5 words, you're going to practice writing them in cursive, and then you're also going to practice doing some phonograms and rule review. And I even came up with a document to help your parents if they want some ideas on how to do those reviews, and those are posted online. And then on Thursday, you're going to actually do your words in cursive. So you're actually getting some cursive practice, even though we're not officially doing handwriting without tears. Keep reviewing your history, geography. That's helpful. It's not necessarily on the lesson plan, but if mom or dad are busy with another sibling or doing some other chores, a quick round of Cetera could really keep you busy for 5 to 10 minutes and be really beneficial. And then, of course, you're continuing to read Secret Garden, and so you're covering chapters 7 and 8 coming up here. Latin, just keep reviewing chapter 27. Make sure you fill out all those pages and keep listening to the songs so that you master that vocabulary. All right, we're going to transition now to math, okay? So here's our review problem. Remember when we're doing conversions? And I'm going to work with pounds and ounces, but before I even do that, how many ounces are in a pound? 16, okay? So let's go ahead and do this problem for review. I have 6 pounds minus 6 ounces equals how many pounds and how many ounces? The first thing to know is the unit of measurement we're using, and I have pounds and I have ounces. I don't have any ounces on this side, so that tells me, I need to make sure I have ounces. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have to borrow from my pounds. So this now becomes 5 pounds, and let's take a pound away and make it into ounces. Remember we said 16 ounces in a pound, so there it is. And now we're going to subtract 6 ounces from the 16 ounces. And now you have a math problem that's somewhat easy to solve. 5 pounds. And what is 16 minus 6? 10. 10 ounces. So that is your answer. Keep reviewing your Mental Math 25 that's posted if you would like. The quiz will be highlighting some of those questions, and so that's a great way to review. Let's transition. All right, equivalent fractions are going to be the theme for today. And equivalent, what word does equivalent sound like? Equal. I even wrote it up here, so you could have maybe even seen that. Well, I have a lovely assistant with me today, a magician. Her name is Elise. Thought maybe you'd want to see somebody else besides me teaching you. So, Elise, please fold this strip of paper in half. Elise, please color half of this. And while she's doing that, I'm going to keep teaching. What would you say if I told you 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8? I'm going to write those for you. Were all the same. I'm not lying, they are. And we're going to talk about that today, how all of these are the same or equal. So my lovely assistant has already colored in half of the orange paper. See? 2 equal parts, and she's colored in half. Okay, so now we're going to fold it another time to give us 4 equal parts. Let's open it up. Now we have 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And take a look. How many parts are colored? 1, 2. 2/4. All right, let's do it one more time to give us 8 pieces. Go ahead, Elise. Okay. Thank you, Elise, and you can find your seat now. Now I have 8 pieces. I'm going to hold it a little closer so you can see all the little ridges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And how many pieces are colored in? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/8. It's a really fun magic trick, isn't it? You should show your parents. Cut out a strip of paper and show them how every time you fold it in half, you get these numbers. And do you see how they're all equal? Interesting, isn't it? All right, so these are all equal, even though they have different, what are the top numbers called? Numerators. And different, what are the bottom numbers called? Denominators. That's right. Let's take a look at another set of fractions. I'm just going to show you some types here. We're going to keep talking through it, and then we're going to talk through your textbook, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at this number, 2/3 and 4/6. Do you guys remember these? We did these on the last one. Okay, so I'm going to take some of my thirds. And I said I wanted to compare. I'm going to go ahead and erase this now. 2/3. Hold on for a second. Let's get our 2/3 here. And then I want to compare 4/6. Now, isn't that interesting? Do you see if I do 2/3 and 4/6, they are the exact same or equal. These are equivalent to one another. 2/3 and 1, 2, 3, 4/6. All right. Now, should we play with this a little bit more? Let's talk about 2/3. And let's see what, oh, we can't, I don't have my 9th bars here. Let's do this one. 2/3 equals how many 12ths? Okay? Now, I'm going to pause at this point because now I would love for you to get out your textbooks, okay? Because I want to show you that we've covered these already, and then we'll come right to the problem. So, if you look on page 70, this is exactly the magic trick that we just did for you, okay? And then this is a summary of what we did. 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8 were all equal to each other, okay? Now, this is where we're working, number 1. So we have 2/3 of that bar shaded, okay? And we did the first one, 2/3 equals how many 6ths, okay? This is page 71, and they drew it out for you. So they're saying that 2/3 is the same as how many 6ths? Do you want me to show you? We just did this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay. We're going to come back to B, okay? But let's go ahead and look at C. 2/3 equals how many 12ths? All right, let's scooch these down, and let's see how many 12ths would equal 2/3. This is in your textbook, but I'm showing you in case you did print off those bars, that bar worksheet, reference sheet that I added, and handouts. You can do this yourself and take a look. How many 12ths do we have representing 2/3? 1/12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 12ths. So I'm going to write that down. Now, remember how I said I don't have 9ths in this one? Let's go ahead and try to do it looking at the picture that they've provided. Again, I'm looking at 1B. 2/3 equals how many 9ths? And they drew it out for you. So they showed you, do you see how all of them, it's the same amount of pink in each problem. So how many 9ths? They colored it in for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 9ths. Now, look at this pattern. Have you seen this pattern? This is what's cool, okay? Take a look. Each of these numbers, I should have done them in order. 6, 9, and 12, you're going up by 3s. Look at each of these numbers. 2, 6, 8, you're going up by 2s. So let's figure this out. Can you guess, instead of a denominator of 12, and I'm going to write these in a different way because I want to organize this just a little bit better. Okay, these are the ones we figured out, okay? Now, these are all going to be equivalent. Can you figure out, if I have a denominator of 15, what the numerator would be? Again, we're looking at 1D on the bottom of the page. Remember how I told you these were going up by 3s, and these are going up by what? 2s. That's right. So what will that answer be? 10/15. Let's go to this one. 3 more than 15 is 18. How many 18ths would that be equal to? 2 more than 10? 12 18ths. Are you seeing these patterns? It's exciting, isn't it? And now I'm going to add 3 more to 18 to give me 21sts. We don't use that one as much. But can you figure out what the numerator would be? We've been counting by 2 so far. 14 21sts. I'm almost tempted to say 21ths, but that's not quite right, is it? No. All right, let's go ahead and in your textbook, turn to page 72. Look at 2A. We're showing equivalent fractions by doing this. And they already have the pictures drawn for you, okay? So look at A. We have a full circle filled in, showing us that the fraction of the circle that is taken up is 1 whole, okay? So 1 whole just looks like this, right? But now they split the circle in half, but they filled both in. They're wanting to say, what is equal to one whole? How many halves is equal to one whole? Well, how many halves are colored in for one whole? 2. Look at the next one. We have pieces of 3 or thirds. How many are colored in to show us a whole? 3. Let's say we had 11 pieces. How many pieces would need to be colored in or taken to show us a whole? 11. How about 7? Need 7 pieces to do a whole. How about 24ths? You would need 24 to give you a whole, right? And so this last one, how many pieces are they showing? Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many pieces to make a whole out of your eighths do you need to make a whole? 8 eighths. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and look at B. I'm going to label it as B. We're not talking about wholes. Now we're starting to look at fractions, okay? So they start off with a fraction 1/3. Now, they have given you this problem, and I'm going to copy it on the board, okay? So very much like the other one, except we're not working with wholes. We're working with fractions, or just a part of the whole. So the first one is showing me I have 1 out of 3 pieces. Now take a look at the next one. I have a total of 6 pieces. How many are colored in? 2. Do you see how they're equal? It's the same amount that's colored in. How about the next one? How many pieces are colored in? There's 3 pieces, but how many pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 3/9. And now let's count how many pieces are in this last one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many pieces of those 12 did they color in? 4/12. Are you ready for another magic trick? Okay, let's talk about how to figure some of this out when we don't have pictures, okay? So, you know how I said when we were working on multiplication facts that multiplication matters? This is where it really helps, doesn't it? Let me show you why. Look at underneath figure B. Do you see this? Do you see this kid? He is saying to find an equivalent fraction, multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. Okay? Now, take a look at what just happened here. What did we do with these two? Multiplied by 2. Multiplied by 2. The numerator was multiplied by 2. The denominator was multiplied by 2. Okay? I'm going to go really long on this one. From 3 to 9, look at this denominator. 3 times what equals 9? 1 times 3 equals 3. Do you see this? Pretty fun. And then 3 to 12. 3 times what equals 12? 4. So now I want to multiply by 4 to get the numerator. 4/12. Isn't that so cool? Okay, let me keep showing you some more examples of this. Okay? So let's go ahead and talk about what he's doing here. If actually, we just did cover that. Let's go ahead and practice 3. 3a. I have 1/4 equals how many 12ths? 4 times what gives me 12? 3. So now I need to do it to the numerator. Multiply that by 3. What is 1 times 3? 3. 1/4 is equal or equivalent to 3/12. Let's do the next one. Hold on. I've already passed my page. I just want to make sure I'm keeping track with what I wanted to teach. Yes, okay. Let's go ahead and look at B. To go along with your textbook, I'm going to go this direction. B, we have 2/3 equals how many ninths? 3 times what gives me 9? 3. What I do to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. 2 times 3 equals 6. 6/9 is equivalent or equal to 2/3. Let's go ahead and take a look at C. We have 1/5 equals how many tenths? Well, 5 times what gives me 10? 2. What I do to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. 1 times 2 equals 2/10. That's right. All right, we'll keep practicing this. If you want to, get your piece of paper and a pencil ready, okay? I'm going to see if you can do this one on your own, and then check. Here we go. 1/6 equals 3. Oh, I did it in reverse this time. 3 what? Remember, whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do to the denominator. So 3 times what gives you 3? Okay, you got it? Okay, let's check. 1 times 3 gives me 3, right? So what I do to the numerator, I need to do to the denominator, and vice versa. So let's take 6 times 3. What is 6 times 3? 18. 3/18 is equivalent or equal to 1/6. Now, I'm going to write out these next 2 problems, and you, if you have a piece of paper and a pencil, try it, and let's see if we can line up our answers. Give you a minute. Okay, let's work with the numerators here. 3 times what gives me 6? 2. What I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. 5 times 2 gives me 10. All right, 3 times what gives me 6? 3 times 2. What I do to the numerator or the top, I need to do to the denominator or the bottom, times 2. And that's going to give me how many? 6/8. Okay, let's talk through a little bit of your workbook exercises, okay? So today and tomorrow, you're going to be covering, these are kind of fun, aren't they? I think they are. 31. They did the first one for you, but they are going to be matching equivalent fractions for you, okay? So they did the first one for you, and then you need to do the rest. So you want to find, on this side, 5/6 is equivalent to how many pieces on the second half, and then you would draw your line to connect. I think this looks familiar, not as colorful as mine, of course, but here are your fraction bars, and they're asking you, and they're kind of they're easing you into it, and they're saying, we're going to draw the pictures for you, and we want you to find equivalent fractions. Some of you may be ready to not even look at these pictures, but based on what we did, you can figure it out and then check your work with the picture, okay? Now, this is your officially assigned tomorrow, but here they show you the pictures again. You're finding equivalent fractions. So for 1/3, you're going to figure out this one where there's going to be a 2 on the top, but you don't know how many pieces. Some of you may be able to figure this out on your own, but you can always check with the picture. One point to remind you about. These are all equivalent fractions, but keep in mind that this last one, you have to refer back to 1/3. That's your original fraction that you're working with, okay? That's going to be helpful for you. And the same will be true when you're working with 3/4 and with 1/2. Oh, this one should definitely look familiar. We just did that one, didn't we? And now they're saying, okay, we're going to show you the picture, but this is the process we just talked about. We're going to be multiplying the numerator by a number and the denominator by a number to give you the new numerator and denominator that gives you an equivalent or an equal fraction. And if you turn the page, now they have you doing something like this, where you are going to find 8 pairs of equivalent fractions. One of the pairs has been done for you. I wrote this as an extra credit, but I just want to tell you and give you a heads up, and your mom and dad also have the key. But you know how these are connected or really close to each other, so it's just an easy circle? Most of them are going to be like this. There is one where it's a bit more spread out, so it's kind of tricky. So this isn't the one. I'm not showing you it, but if it may be looking like something like 2/8, and it would go all the way down here. Again, that isn't what I'm telling you is the answer, but it's going to be a long one, okay? And if you can't find it, don't worry. I think it's kind of confusing, so you can ask mom or dad for help. It's not a big deal, okay? So if you have any other questions, you can ask mom or dad or have them ask me. This is an exciting time. We're going to deal with equivalent fractions in the next lesson also, okay? All right, so have a wonderful day, students. I miss you all. Bye.